Hi everyone, my name is Kate and this is my little submission to the 4 producers flip the same sample challenge. Thank you to Andrew for always showing love to those just coming up. Okay, so this time around we were tasked with using the CXM feedback sample pack. And at least in my eyes, if you take a listen, a lot of the sounds are really percussive. These are all the sounds that I ended up pulling from the pack to incorporate. Okay, maybe I didn't have to play them all at once, but you get the idea. Like a lot of very cool, very impacty. This one I wrote dog park. Kind of sounded like a oof to me. I knew first things first, I had to pop these samples into a drum rack and get some percussion going. So that's what I did, and as you'll see, I couldn't even be bothered to rename the samples, but these are the ones I picked. On the ones that I did want to be a bit more snappy and a bit more percussion-y, I shortened the decay or faded out a bit sooner than the actual sample. I played around with some EQ, some panning, good old Pan Man from Sound Toys, we love her, and some hybrid reverb, which honestly kind of gave like a tribal house kind of thing when I programmed it out, so it sounded like this. Fun, okay. And then, of course, I needed a kick. I needed a kick underneath, so we added a little kick. You get the vibes. And because all of these samples, or a lot of them, were so ambient, I felt like I had to kind of play into that, hence the more reverbed, atmospheric processing of the sampled drums. My whole idea for this track was to have kind of a lush, ethereal-ish dreamscape and then hard jarring into electronic, very synthesized situation. I'm really obsessed with the tension between organic and digital sounding things because I think that's the tension of our lives. And also for that reason, I love vocal chops in incorporating vocals as an instrument more than a function for lyrics. And basically what that means is I just didn't write lyrics. I was just mumbling, as you'll hear in the intro here. So yeah, basically setting a very lush tone. These are just a couple of oohs I sang and put through Ethereal Canyon and did some filtering to bring them into the song. We then moved to this section where I do some more mumbling, but on this vocal, I wanted some separation between the mids because I had so much mid information, so I used more of a high pass filter on the vocals to just separate them out a little bit while I'm singing my little nonsense. All right, so we're at this point, we're waiting, we're ready, something's gotta happen. I'm a big fan of silence. I felt like the sampled drums here really set up a nice little bookend into our chorus, which sounds like this. All right, before we get any farther, I want to talk about this bass. Bass is something that's very important to me. Started with just a very basic serum bass, I believe, which sounded like this. And the more I produce, the more I realize that if I incorporate kind of stopping and starting, especially with my bass lines, it's going to sound a lot groovier. So I knew I wanted to print this out and do a chop situation. But before I did that, I went ahead and I added this delicious roar preset. It's called Bass Synthetic Crunch, and I just played around with that to give a little more texture. I love how gritty it is. And then finally I printed that out to audio, and you'll see all of these little colored bits are just pitched up or down to give a little more texture. But I think the most important thing about this little bass line is the silence, which makes it a lot more interesting than where it started. Pair that with our little kick. Cool. And then I took my little nonsense vocal from here and I chopped it up via MIDI and made this. And the reason why it pops out so much is I used a shaper to modify the balance, which I think gives it a really interesting texture. Cool. A couple more things about the chorus, more vocal chops because that's all I do. There's this little guy. And as we get to the second half of the chorus, we bring in some of those delicious textured samples. Okay, we've got this one, which I named Sparkle. I mean, pretty self-explanatory. I'm pretty sure I just stretched it out a little and then pitched it. And then I decided to take one of the other one shots and turn it into this textured gate thing. And to do that was fairly simple. I just took out the low end and then used the beat warping, gated to a 16th note, and then just played around until I liked it. Reversed the chop after it to give it kind of this opening and closing effect. Cool. And then I brought back in this guitar, which is an ARP in Serum. Yeah, so it's just this fun electro-acoustic jam. So I played around with that and then resampled it to create that little loopy thing, little loopy texture. All right, and then for the outro, the one fun thing I got to do with the samples was I pulled in a one shot into granulator to create these really weird noises. And then I played around with having an LFO modify the grain size and the position, and then I bounced it out and arranged it in a way I liked. I called it Noise Dolphin. It sounds like this now. Added some panning, and then just did some pitching of samples and just fade automation to bring the song out. Woohoo! And I don't know if I need to do this, but here's the beat in full. All right, well, that is it. Thank you for watching.